Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video, we're gonna talk about the Zhiyun Crane M2. For smooth camera movements or actions like following up a subject or panning, one of the best ways of achieving that is using a gimbal. But generally, there are two types of gimbals, one for smartphones and one for cameras. The main objective of a gimbal is using its motors to counteract your movements. For example, you're leaning to the right, the motors of the gimbal is basically or somewhat counteracting it by leaning to the left. So when will you need a gimbal? Usually, we use gimbals for moving shots. For example, we want to pan the shot, or we want to follow someone from behind, or we want to zoom in or zoom out. There are a lot of creative ways to use a gimbal. In the future, I'm gonna make a video that shows you different shots that can be done using a gimbal. The first thing you need to do to use a gimbal is to balance your camera. Or if you're using a smartphone, you need to balance your smartphone first before turning on the gimbal itself. This specific gimbal has a locking mechanism, which is great. Other gimbals doesn't have this kind of feature. So instead of having your gimbal lay around in your table or in your bag, wobbling like this, this specific gimbal does have a locking mechanism, which is great. Not a lot of gimbals have a locking mechanism like this one. So it's a plus for Zhiyun Crane M2. Now, balancing your camera takes some time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if you're already accustomed to balancing cameras on a gimbal, but definitely it will take some time. So if you're going to be shooting outside, or if you're going to be shooting some film, or maybe your vacation, you need to preset your camera on the gimbal so that you won't eat much time outside balancing your camera. Now I'm going to show you how to balance your phone, your smartphone, on this gimbal. So this is it. Our camera is somehow balanced. So as you can see, it's not falling forward or falling backwards or leaning to the left or right. So the reason why we need to balance your camera, gimbals have motors to counteract your movements. But you might ask, if it already has motors, why do we need to balance the camera? It's for the lifetime of the motors themselves and your battery, so it won't drain as much. If it's not balanced, the motor needs to work harder to level the camera. But if it's balanced, it needs less energy, less motor power for it to be able to balance the camera. Now let's turn on the gimbal by sliding up and holding this specific button, this one. Holding it, sliding it up and holding it for maybe 2 seconds, the gimbal will automatically level your camera. This mode is called PF, or pan focus mode. It follows your motions left and right, but it won't follow if you look downwards or upwards. There. See? Since the camera is not following if you're looking upwards or if you're looking downwards, this joystick here can be used to make your camera look upwards or look downwards in the PF mode. So as you can see, the camera is looking upwards and looking downwards even if it's on PF mode. But if you want to reset your view, you can double press the trigger here. Now, on to the next mode. If you click or if you press this button, letter M, let me show it to you. This letter M, this means that the angle will be locked. So since right now it's pointing to the camera, even if I turn this gimbal to the left, the camera won't turn to the left or to the right or downwards or upwards. On to the next mode, let's press M, POV mode or point of view. This will follow your every move. Okay, if you point the gimbal downwards, the camera will follow. If you point it upwards, the camera will follow too. If you point it to the left, point it to the right, the camera will follow. But of course, in a smooth manner, not just like holding the phone. Also, the POV mode or the point of view mode will follow your roll action. If you lean to the right, the camera will lean to the right as well. And if you lean to the left, it will lean to the left as well. Even if you put your gimbal upside down, the camera will follow. So the next mode is the follow mode or the F mode instead of PF. This one, you can access it through the trigger. Select the PF mode and then hit the trigger once. Okay. So the PF mode will become F mode. This is like the PF mode, but the camera will follow if you look downwards. Okay. So you might ask, what's the difference between the follow mode and the POV mode? POV mode will follow the roll action. If you lean to the right, the camera will lean. But in follow mode, the camera won't lean. Meaning, you will always have a perfect level camera. So if you lean to the right, it's still perfectly leveled. Lean to the left, same thing. But if you look downwards, the camera will look downwards. And if you look up, look right, and look left, the camera will follow. Another mode is the go mode. While you're in the follow mode, press M twice and it will become go. Go mode is the same as follow mode, but it is quicker. From its name, go, it's used for action or sports. So if you move to the right or left, the motors are quicker and will follow you immediately. Unlike the follow mode, if I look to the right, I look to the left, it's slower than this mode, the go mode here, as you can see. But still your footage are stabilized. And the last mode is the V mode or the vertigo mode. So you can only access this mode if you're already in the go mode. Just press the mode button twice. The camera will look up. You can control your camera's rotation using the joystick. Vertigo mode is used for barrel roll shots. Not a lot of gimbals can do this type of shot. And lastly, there's a hidden mode that is not displayed on this little screen, which is the selfie mode. If you're on the PF mode or the follow mode, you can tap this trigger button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it will access the selfie mode. Tap it 3 times again, it will return to its original or default direction. Now let me show you the screen and the buttons close up. Now let's access the menu. Our first item in the menu is the motor. Move this joystick to the right to enter that menu. We have 3 options here, the low, medium, and high. This is basically the power of the motors. If your camera is heavy, use the high settings. For example, the mirrorless cameras like M50 or M100. If you're using GoPros or heavy phones, maybe you can use medium or low. So depending on your camera. Let's go back by moving this joystick to the left. Move down, Wi-Fi. So this gimbal can be connected to your phone through Wi-Fi and the Zhiyun Play app. So basically, you can control the gimbal through the app. You can make your gimbal look upwards, downwards, left, right through the app. Also, you can connect this gimbal to your camera if your camera has connectivity features. Like, for example, the M50 has Wi-Fi wireless connectivity. If this gimbal is connected to your camera, you can use this button here as record button. On the left side of the gimbal, there's a W and T for telephoto and wide lens. So basically, this controls the zoom or focal length of the camera. If you slide it upwards to the W, your camera will zoom out. If you slide it down, it will go to telephoto or it will zoom in. This one is the charging port, which is USB-C. In this 1/4 screw here, you can mount maybe your shotgun mic. At the back, this is the trigger, and this is the lock mechanism. On the right, this is the turn on and off button, and this is the menu. And by the way, this gimbal can actually charge your phone while you're using it. So right here, beside the camera, there's a micro USB slot here, which you can use while shooting. For the battery, this gimbal has a non-removable battery. So if you're shooting outside, you cannot easily change the batteries of this gimbal, but you can use an external battery and plug it in the charging port, the USB port. But don't worry, having a non-removable battery for this gimbal is not bad news. Actually, if you fully charge this gimbal, it will run for a solid 7 hours. Now, for the pricing, it's not that cheap compared to other gimbals that are designed for smartphones. It's around 199 US dollars. Links in the description below. But this gimbal gives you the option to use your mirrorless camera if you have an M50 maybe, or your smartphone, or you have a GoPro. And finally, the tips that I can give you when using a gimbal, do not depend on it too much. Yes, it stabilizes your footage, your recording, but it's better if you yourself will help stabilize the shot. For example, learning how to what they call ninja walk. So instead of just hitting record button and just walking forward following your subject, learn how to ninja walk and help your recording stabilize more. And one more thing, if you're not using this just for smartphone or for your GoPros, do check the compatibility list from Zhiyun's website so that you can make sure that your camera or your mirrorless camera is compatible with this specific gimbal. And that's it for this video of Zhiyun Crane M2. If you like this gimbal, check the links down below where you can purchase it from Amazon or Lazada. If you do like this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, and see you on my next video.